Hey, I'm Pops. I'm going to talk about The Last of Us. That's right. We're on episode 8 already. It's hard to believe the season is almost over. We've watched Joel and Ellie with a few flashbacks go through basically these outbreak, the apocalyptic end of humanity as we know it. And now we're in the Great White North in the middle of a snow everywhere. Joel is injured. He's bleeding out after being stabbed in the belly. We think she's got him stable after her flashback. In the last episode, we get to the point where she was using basically just random hook and string, just gonna sew him up. Okay. So at least he gets infected. That's spoiler alert. That's what happens. Um, so now we're going to come on another group of people. The last group that we came upon was where Joel's brother Tommy lived. It was like a fort. They had built sort of a council, a republic, a voting group of people to make administrative decisions, so that it wasn't like a lot of like power hungry people. And here we have this individual named David. And it starts with him reading from a Bible. You know how much I love it when we mock Christianity or we have really horrible stereotypes. And yeah, there's David. Yeah. He's like, he's doing behind him is the banner. When we're in need, he will provide because everybody is starving. There's no food left. There's lots of conversations about rations. They have to figure out how to go out and look for food. Now, Ellie and Joel. Ellie's tending to him the best she can. She's going out. She falls down so she doesn't kill the rabbit, but she ends up killing a deer. I know. She's had training at least in one episode, so she can take down a deer. Now, this puts her in the path with David and another guy from that area, his group called James. And through gunpoint, she basically offers, and they basically threaten her because she can't carry this thing back by herself. They're going to trade half the deer for penicillin. They do bring back the medicine, but you end up with this back and forth about being a weird cult thing and the Bible stuff. And he talks about this journey where they're running out of food. They sent people to get supplies and they were attacked, and one dude was killed. Now, you realize because the writing here is very interesting because normally they spoon feed you things, and here they don't. So you're not 100% certain which episode they're talking about, but they should be talking about the one where he got stabbed, right? They should be talking about the most recent one. Otherwise, they wouldn't be geographically that close together. But the fact that it's not as spoon fed is very interesting because that's not normally how they react. I really like it, but it is interesting to say that something's a little bit different there. They normally do. Anyway, so when they return, they basically have Ellie trapped, and when they give her these medicine, because they let them to go off with the deer, she takes the medicine back to Joel. She has no idea how to administer a needle. Apocalyptic world, no training. She has no idea. I don't think she's ever had a shot, I guess. No one ever told her where you put them or how you do it. Nothing. Nope. She finds the open wound in the belly and she's jabbing it right in the open wound. It's really hard to watch because you can't even imagine how bad that probably would hurt, especially because it's infected, right? Because she just used regular thread and stuff. So, yeah, it's bad. There's no real consequence to that right now. It's about going back to this David's camp, Camp David. Get the jokes, get the puns of where we're going here, folks. Heard rumor, right? There's a girl, and it's the guy. It's the guy that killed Alec or Alex or whatever his name was. The character that we didn't know anything about who died. Remember Brian in like episode 3 or something? Like, yeah, it's another Brian. R.I.P. R.I.P. Alec or Alex or whatever. Like, yeah, okay. And one of the girls shouts out, "Oh, we should kill these people." And David walks over, slaps her down, lifts her up, and all the cultish behavior is so cliche and overdone. David is not interesting at all. I'm not a gamer, didn't play the game, don't know how David is portrayed in the game. For all I know, David's not even in the game. I have no idea. You guys will tell me, keep me honest, what's going on with the game part. I told you when the season ends, I'll go back and I'll watch these cutscenes and I'll do maybe a video on the cutscenes and how it related to the show and that kind of thing. So, anyway, when they go to eat, David has a mountain of food and they're still eating their small little rations. There really is nothing else that needs to be said. He's a monster. Now, I want to say that, they're doing their prayer and all this other nonsense. No offense to David, because he looks like basically like a beta version of Woody Harrelson. Not the most intimidating fellow in the world. Why is he in charge? No offense, but when things get unjust, people would just leave or people would rise up. There's enough of them that they would overpower him. Like, it makes no sense that he's not some sort of like biker gang authoritarian running this place, that it's some sort of like religious cultish commune kind of things. I know they made the communist reference with the fort thing. That was a little different. I think it's ludicrous to make that kind of socio-political economical comparison because that's not a great representation of what was happening there. But this one's even weirder. And then it keeps getting weirder. So, okay. They go out searching for Ellie, and Ellie decides she's going to lure them away by riding the horse. She's trying to talk to Joel, who's flinching. He has a knife, and James ends up shooting her. He's going to kill her, and obviously David just fires in the air and tells him, "No, go find the girl." These men have no agency. These men are totally submissive to David, and yet I don't know. The one guy looks like he's totally could kick this guy's butt, and then he just lowers his head every time. Like, he looks like he's an equal or superior to David in every way. And then every scene they present him, then he'll lower his head in submission. It's so strange because it doesn't ever feel right. I don't know if it's a casting decision. I don't know if there's a scene of dialogue or something that I don't have that I don't get on why they're behaving this way. So it's all right. They actually are going to get close to catching Joel, but then suddenly Joel is feeling better. I know. I know. 2 doses of penicillin, man. It'll turn your life around. You can be stabbed in the belly with an infection, and let me tell you what, it might hurt, but it'll turn you around. And he takes down not one guy, but he gets 2 guys, and we're gonna get to that. There was some good suspense there. I like how it was shot. It was pretty good. It's pretty good. They have Ellie captured, and David is giving her this spiel, and it's like weird cultish stuff. It's like weird, I need you. You're my equal. You're a leader. That kind of thing. So Joel, he's torturing the one guy, and they're going to find, he's got to figure out where they are. And you see the dark side, the killer side of Joel that people who love the game have talked about. I've heard this is the side that was lost, or at least it's not consistently been presented in the show, but you see that part, and I can see why that's so good. Um, but then basically this whole thing is happening with Ellie in the cage, and she sees that there's just blood on the floor, whatever. You really, I don't know. I thought the shot was actually not as well executed as it could have been. Definitely wasn't as creepy or gross as like a Hannibal or something like that has been done before. But basically, they're cannibals, right? They've had to resort to eating people because there's no food, because they live in the Great White North, because you're dumb, because in the Great White North, there's going to be times where the winters are going to be so hard. There's so much cold weather. There won't be animals. Your crops can't grow. It's like, no offense, but you would need to be moving towards the equator, not towards the Great White North. I'm not saying you can't travel there and hunt and come back, but I'm saying this is not the best time to be there in January, which is kind of how it's supposed to be portrayed. So it's like the deep, deep part of winter. Now, it is just a really cringy scene with David and Ellie, and she's trying to better him, playing the psychological game, like being tender with him, whatever. And he keeps making all these comments about, I'm surrounded by sheep. I want an equal. I want a friend. You're talking to a child. You're talking to some 15-year-old kid. It makes no sense. And he tries to lie to her about, oh, we'll spare Joel, we'll let him go or whatever. And you're like, what on earth? It's just, I don't know. He's got a violent heart speech worked in there. Anyway, so reality is it comes to head where she injures him. She grabs, she does eventually figure out how to get out. And there's a big struggle over the keys. And he calls her the C word. And when James shows up and they pull her out, they're going to put her on the table, whatever. Anyway, so that fight gets, and James gets killed. And then David's chasing her, and they fight. And she ends up getting the better of him, even though she's all beat up because he's going to try to go for the SA. I don't understand why he's going for that right now. But she is very smart. Like, she really, really played this well because she played the I'm infected card, right? Because she can show the wound and she hasn't turned yet. And then she bit him. So she plays that card. And that's how it turns into chaos. And the building's burning down and David's still just trying to get to her. He's got a meat cleaver and I don't know. This was all fine. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It was just all okay. Because at the end of the day, the show has shown me that nobody matters in the show except for Joel and Ellie until proven otherwise, right? Even the baggage that they have is not done well enough and written into the story enough for me to change the dynamic of the Joel and Ellie. So, like the last episode with Riley, even though I enjoyed some of the elements of that backstory, it was presented way too late in the season. It was very clunky with how it tied back to Joel, and it doesn't change the fact that she's already bonded to Joel. If we had this information sooner, we would understand why she would bond to Joel maybe fast because she doesn't want to lose someone. She wants to have someone, right? So here, you already went through one group of people that at the fort that were the good people, and now we're going through the fort with the bad people. And you know Ellie's not going to die. She's obviously the main character, right? Joel is he's already figured out how to become healed. 2 doses, baby. 2 doses to the belly is what it takes. 2 doses makes the world grow. Take your spoonful of sugar and 2 doses to the belly. It'll make you going, wow. So, and he's like, oh, I got you, baby girl. I got you. I got you, baby girl. And then they just walk on into the snow because that's what you would do. You would just walk on into the snow, I guess. I I'm really bored with the apocalyptic shows where you don't even train people to know how to survive in these scenarios. Like, there's no effort to constantly be gathering resources and coming up with strategic places where you would be or not be, trying to find a way. Like, them, as far as I know, all of the men are dead that knew where they were in that little town. So it would not be hard pressed to say, well, maybe not. You don't quite go back to the exact same house, but go to one of the other houses and recoup, gather supplies and recoup. I don't know. It's a video game. You came, you had your scene, you had your adventure, you had your level, you beat your big boss, and now you just get to move on. And that's pretty much what the show is. I don't know how much of this is legit and kind of ties in to whatever. That's how I felt. I don't know. It's just okay. And the show has become that. It's like I'm in to complete it, but it's not even something that I'm greatly looking forward to. And you guys can tell me what your guys' thoughts are. So thanks for everything. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you guys so much. I am Pops.